Born July 15, 1994, Erin arrived in America to biological parents who would forever remain a mystery. She found a home with Lur and William, a couple from Tennessee who raised 7 children, 5 of whom, Erin included, were adopted. For Lur and William, the act of adoption was far more than a simple lifestyle preference. It was a spiritual commitment to aid the vulnerable, especially since several of their children required intensive, specialized care. Their youngest daughter, Trisha, served as a prime example, entering the world with a complex series of medical challenges. Growing up in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, Erin displayed an instinctive and profound empathy for animals from her earliest years. Her mother recalled her unique gift, noting Erin was the only one who could train a rabbit to walk obediently on a leash. Gentle and profoundly compassionate, navigating the standard trials of childhood within the safety of a fiercely supportive and loving family environment. When Trisha died at age 3.5, her parents helped the children find meaning in the joy they provided her. As years passed, Erin mastered the art of taming high-strung horses, keeping her own pony, Riley, at a stable near the family home. In 5th grade, she met Jonathan Corwin, an older student. Initially, they remained distant, but 5 years later, they reconnected through the digital world of social media. By then, her innate kindness had led her to take in a wide array of creatures, providing a sanctuary for everything from small rodents to abandoned cats and dogs. Eventually, Jonathan found the nerve to ask her out, choosing her 16th birthday for the occasion. With parental blessing, they became a storybook couple, their days filled with romantic poetry and dreams of a shared future. After high school, Erin took a job at a tractor supply store, spending her leisure time at the stables or visiting yard sales with her mother and siblings. Meanwhile, Jonathan joined the Marine Infantry, both of them optimistic about the life they were building. They wed in Las Vegas in November 2012, shortly before Jonathan received orders for a transfer to California. Though excited for the move, they viewed the West Coast as a temporary chapter before returning home to East Tennessee. By September 2013, the newlyweds settled into their housing on the Marine base in San Bernardino County. This military outpost sat on the edge of the vast Joshua Tree National Park. In this new environment, they befriended Connor and Aing Malaki, a couple living on the ground floor with their young son, Brian. Jonathan also forged a bond with another Marine on base, Christopher Brandon Lee. An Alaskan native, Christopher struggled with the psychological aftermath of a difficult deployment to Afghanistan. He lived with his wife Nicole and daughter Liberty, sharing Erin's deep-seated passion for all things equestrian. The 3 couples quickly formed a tight-knit social circle. While the men were on duty, the wives spent their afternoons together, sharing meals and conversation. Evenings were spent as a group, rotating between apartments to cook dinner and watch movies together. Their lives became intertwined, their homes open to all. Christopher and Nicole also volunteered at Royal Blanca Ranch, a facility dedicated to a nonprofit mission of animal rescue and welfare. The ranch, owned by Isabel Megley, soon became a focal point for Erin's own volunteer efforts. For a while, the balance between military duty and domestic life seemed perfectly stable. Christopher initially projected the image of a disciplined and capable soldier, but his peers soon noticed a reckless streak and a disturbing lack of discipline when handling firearms. Superiors eventually disciplined him for treating high-powered weaponry and rifles like harmless playthings. This recklessness shadowed him. Meanwhile, the Corwins faced the isolation of base life, which strained their young marriage. Their lack of maturity made them vulnerable to the harsh realities of shared adult responsibilities. Bitter arguments over money and accusations of reckless spending began to erode their initial happiness. Everything changed when Erin became pregnant. The friction vanished instantly. Overjoyed, she shared the news online with a celebratory pink and blue announcement. Within weeks, a tragic loss left Erin's emotional world in ruins. The darkness only deepened. Jonathan's military absence left her isolated and physically alone. The cracks in their foundation became a chasm. Christopher noticed her grief and sensed a psychological opening. He began engineering private moments away from his wife. One Sunday in February 2014, they gathered socially. Erin retreated from a violent show, seeking a quiet refuge. Christopher joined her, sitting side by side in the master suite. The game stopped. A heavy silence took its place. Without a word, they shared a forbidden kiss. That moment ignited a volatile, fast-moving obsession. They spoke of abandoning their spouses to start anew. The secret leaked. Nicole found the evidence on Christopher's mobile phone. A vitriolic, hours-long confrontation followed the discovery. She promptly alerted Jonathan to the betrayal. The night dissolved into rage and venomous threats. They initially tried to sever their connection. Within weeks, secret poems pulled them back together. Oblivious, Jonathan remained committed to saving their bond. By June 22, 2014, everything shifted. Erin discovered she was carrying Christopher's child. She shared the news with only him. He feigned joy while privately viewing it as a threat. He had no intention of leaving his marriage. His enlistment was almost over. He planned to retreat to Alaska by July 4th. He spoke of discovering unusual sights in the desert. He specifically noted a remote, deep mineshaft. He obtained a propane tank under false pretenses. His digital search history turned toward body disposal. He lured Erin to the park with a surprise. She excitedly shared the news with a distant friend. A ring emoji fueled her hopes for a proposal. The date was set for June 28th. He claimed he was hunting coyotes with his rifle. He also loaded gasoline and the propane tank. He departed alone at 7:30 that morning. Erin claimed she was scouting trails for her mother. A final kiss maintained the illusion of normalcy. Her romantic expectations met a cold, brutal reality. There was no ring, only a man filled with contempt. She was alone with a killer's concentrated rage. He used a makeshift garrote to choke her life away. Once she hit the ground, after verifying she was gone, he disposed of her body in a mine shaft he had scouted previously. Erin lay 76 meters below as the hours passed without a single word reaching her husband. Jonathan's panic intensified. After 50 unanswered calls, the soldier contacted his mother-in-law and reported his wife missing the next morning. Her mother grew suspicious, thinking the directionally challenged woman had wandered off. Days passed without a single trace of Erin's location. The eventual discovery of new clues offered zero solace to the family. A local resident noticed a vehicle parked near her home for days, an eerie anomaly in the remote area. She captured photos of the car and shared them, seeking the owner. These images proved pivotal, as the vehicle was quickly identified as the car belonging to Erin. Erin's mother felt a sudden, sharp dread when police found the car abandoned miles north of the park. In her mind, the empty vehicle was a definitive sign of a malevolent encounter. Investigators shared that grim intuition. Authorities then pursued two goals: gathering evidence against a killer and the far more difficult task of finding the body. To this end, San Bernardino detectives scrutinized Erin's life, uncovering hidden details that suggested she was in grave danger. This probe revealed her secret affair was ongoing, a discovery that effectively cleared her husband of suspicion. Alternatively, Christopher became the investigative focus after tire impressions found near Erin's car were linked to his vehicle. On July 1st, 2014, Christopher faced interrogation, having already concealed his weapon at Isabel's ranch. Christopher initially apologized for hiding his illicit connection to Erin, maintaining that their relationship never actually violated the sanctity of their marriages. Then, unexpectedly, he alleged that Erin was a victim of domestic strife. Regarding the day she disappeared, he claimed he was solo hunting coyotes in the park, explaining his shots as target practice against the rocks. Faced with contradictory evidence, the suspect began to unravel his previous account. Without physical evidence, the investigative team lacked the necessary leverage. With no proof of a demise, police were forced to release Christopher after 9 hours of intense questioning. Police found the primary suspect's version of events to be both bizarre and implausible. When an investigator later interviewed Nicole, she displayed a marked refusal to cooperate, as if she viewed the investigation with pure contempt. Christopher was eventually discharged from the Marines, and the couple proceeded with their plan to move away. They loaded their belongings and, with young liberty, moved back to Alaska. Meanwhile, a much more daunting objective remained: recovering Erin's remains to prove a crime occurred. As the trail went cold, the team's morale began to sink. The case broke when Isabel recalled a comment where Christopher mentioned exploring desert mines, specifically one he claimed would never be discovered by anyone. To follow this lead, police recruited a local expert familiar with the countless abandoned mines in the region. Led by the specialist, a systematic search operation was launched by investigators and volunteers across the California parkland. 6 agencies scoured 3,000 kilometers of wilderness in a massive, coordinated search effort. Despite weeks of exhaustive effort, the search was officially suspended on Saturday, August 16, 2014, with no results found. That same afternoon, a caver noticed a pungent chemical stench rising from one of the hidden shafts. At dusk, searchers lowered a camera 9 meters down into the darkness of the shaft. The air inside was lethal, but at 30 meters, the lens finally captured the image of a body. Late that Saturday night in August, investigators finally recovered a body, 2 months after Erin first vanished into the desert. A propane cylinder sat at the bottom of the deep shaft, evidence of a failed attempt to incinerate the remains. Due to advanced decay, dental records were required to confirm identity at the morgue. The remains were confirmed to be Erin, a victim of strangulation by a ligature still cinched around her throat. Autopsy results further revealed she was pregnant. This double tragedy left her family grappling with a psychological storm of grief and horror. While the discovery was devastating, for her mother, the truth was more bearable than the agonizing silence of her disappearance. She simply wanted Erin home for burial. With Christopher having the clear motive and a window of opportunity, the evidence mounted until police arrested him in Anchorage, immediately impounding his vehicle for forensic analysis. Hidden beneath the passenger seat was a handcrafted strangulation tool, identical to the one found at the scene. This discovery led investigators to interrogate Christopher's mother. Though she denied any knowledge of the weapon or the crime, a search of her residence uncovered press clippings about the case. The arrest soon captured the national spotlight. San Bernardino authorities later detailed the investigation, officially naming Christopher as their primary suspect. Police also executed a surprise search at Isabel's ranch, where they seized a rifle belonging to Christopher, deepening the forensic link between him and the murder. Digital forensic experts also uncovered a trail of incriminating search queries on his personal devices. Christopher was subsequently charged with first-degree murder. On Friday, September 19, 2014, hundreds of candles flickered in memory of Erin and her unborn child. Around 250 mourners gathered, many wearing custom shirts inscribed with her name and scripture. During the investigation, Jonathan granted only one exclusive interview despite a flood of media requests. He spoke of his bitterness toward Christopher but noted that feeding that hatred would only destroy him. Jonathan explained that the affair had restarted and Erin vanished when she left to meet their neighbor. While a part of him craved a violent reckoning, he chose restraint, refusing to become the mirror image of the man who destroyed his life. He sought to remain a good man. The legal battle for justice finally began in October 2016. From the start of the proceedings, the prosecution highlighted Christopher's violent tendencies and clear path to the crime. On Wednesday, October 19th, a scientist testified that a .22 caliber shell casing from the mine matched the firing pin of Christopher's rifle. When the defense opened, Christopher was the only person called to the stand. In a shocking move, he admitted to the killing while acknowledging the weight of the evidence. He followed his confession with a desperate, transparent fabrication of the events. He claimed he suspected Erin was mistreating his daughter while babysitting, leading to what he described as a violent revelation in the desert that night. He attempted to justify his actions with this story, clearly hoping for a more lenient sentence. He remained eerily composed and cooperative throughout the entire legal process. The jury was unconvinced. After 15 minutes of deliberation, Christopher Brandon Lee was found guilty of first-degree murder. The next month, he was sentenced to life in prison without any hope of parole. Following the tragic loss, the family and civic groups petitioned the Bureau of Land Management to fund the sealing of abandoned mine shafts. They started with the site where Erin Corwin's life was taken, acknowledging the massive scope of the project and current land closures, urging that this location be prioritized to protect other families from a similar fate. Once the sentencing concluded, the victim's mother admitted that the psychological and physical toll had left her completely hollow. For over 2 years, a leaden grief had shadowed her, turning the simple act of walking into a heavy burden. The finality of the court's decision brought a release comparable only to the day she officially brought Erin home. The years of legal limbo vanished the moment he was given her name, much like the relief of this final judgment. It was a haunting symmetry of profound emotional closure. As for the widower, Jonathan Corwin, he shunned the cameras, quietly attempting to reconstruct a future from the debris of a life shattered by tragedy. If this investigation stayed with you, hit like and subscribe. We upload new case files every single night. Until our next report, stay alert. The story of Erin Corwin is more than a tragic headline. It is a profound cautionary tale that echoes through the silence of the Mojave Desert. It reminds us that the most devastating storms often brew beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives. At its core, this narrative is a heartbreaking study of vulnerability and the high price of misplaced trust. Erin was a soul defined by empathy, a woman who could tame wild horses and heal broken animals. Yet she found herself caught in a web of emotional isolation and manipulation. Her journey teaches us that loneliness is a powerful catalyst. When our foundations crack, we must be wary of those who offer a hand not to lift us up, but to pull us into the shadows. Furthermore, this case serves as a chilling reminder of the finality of choices. A single moment of betrayal ignited a chain reaction that cost 2 innocent lives and shattered multiple families. It challenges us to choose integrity over impulse and to recognize that escapes built on deceit are merely cages in disguise. Let Erin's memory be a beacon. Cherish the bonds that ground you, protect your inner peace fiercely, and never mistake a predator's attention for a sanctuary. In a world of vast deserts and hidden depths, the greatest light we can carry is the truth.